152nd episode of the
Let's go! But guys, Chaim's still scarred from the Twillory tournament draft, and hearing my noises, Dovey and Chaim both scarred, I think. Anyways, we're back, guys, and this is an extremely exciting podcast. We're obviously planned on coming on here as a captain's podcast to recap from the captain's perspective how the Twillory draft went. However, we do have some real breaking news we'll get to shortly. I first want David to introduce everyone here. I think everyone here has been on once. Dovey, have you been on? I think you were on in some capacity. Jakob, you
Nope.
were never on?
Nope.
Never.
Really? Wow.
Avi,
So
maybe
two
I should handle the introduction.
brand new faces. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah.
So we've got Hot Corner Weiss. We're going to go in age order. We've got Hot Corner Weiss, who unfortunately has not been an integral part of the HSL like in the way he is over the last few months. I gave him an opportunity to help manage my team, and he's really
Wait, are we
stepped
live,
up.
Dave?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Everyone's
really
asking.
stepped up and shown
Everyone-
some potential. He's really stepped up and showed some potential, but he's locked in. He's just executed one of the trades of the century. This is Mr. Softball, which I don't think people I don't think the broader community knew. The insiders knew that he was Mr. Softball. Then we have Chaim Zagelbaum, who's an old friend, played together, won a championship together, was on the podcast one time. Mr. Zagelbaum was. He is very talented. Apparently, a lot of people were going to spend upwards of $30 on him, but then he became a captain. So that ended. We're very lucky to have him here. I believe it's the first time you're captaining, period, in the HSL. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or in softball?
Yeah.
All right, welcome. And then we have Dovey Geisels, Jonasson Lowenger's life partner, who we're very happy to have as a captain. And also a very talented third baseman. Avi said not yet a premium third baseman, but in my mind, he is a premium third baseman. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Glad to be on.
Very happy to be here.
So, Avi, are we diving right into the trade? Or are we going to let Hot Corner Weiss tell everybody the breaking news?
Well, I first want to take credit for something here. You introduced Chaim as, somebody who's being a captain for the first time. And 3 years ago, the committee decided to send Chaim Zagelbaum down to the minor leagues, Tier 2, to work on some things. And in my opinion, I think Chaim now is a better player than ever. He only used to be able to hit down the left field line. He took some reps in Tier 2, and now Chaim is a whole other player. So I get credit for that. Now, with that being said, you could say thank you, Chaim. With that being said, I would like to dive right into things. I was sitting on the couch by my in-laws as my in-laws watched my kid between camp and school. And I was working on the little kids youth leagues, Five Towns, Queens, and then I get this chat that's created, and I see there's a big trade. I'm like, okay, big trade. And then I see 8 names, and then I see some big time names. So, my adrenaline was really, really pumping, and now this podcast has really taken over sort of a new feel to it. It's involving 2 teams. Yaakov Weiss will get us started. As I'm sure you guessed by now, he is one of the teams involved. So, Yaakov, why don't you take us away? Now, Yaakov, do you know the sponsor name of your team and the sponsor name of the team that you traded towards?
I know it's Clear Services. Did I trade with Barbacoa?
Well, let's see. I want to make sure we give them proper recognition because at the HSL, we very much value our sponsors. So I want to make sure that we have proper recognition for our sponsors. So let's first check this out. I know which team you traded with. So yes, Barbacoa is a team you traded to, and your team is Clear Services, which we thank very much. 2 of our amazing sponsors here at the Twillory tournament. So Yaakov, why don't you let the world know the breaking news?
So before I jump in as a first timer to the pod, I just want to clarify, we are live and there is no post-production edit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I need to be careful what I say now. Okay.
Everyone's
with that-
watching, Yaakov. I could check how many
All
people.
right, that being said, let's just run through. It's a 4 versus 4. I know
How
there was a
many
lot
people
of
are watching
comments.
We have 30 people watching right now.
Really?
There was a lot of comments about how we just should have, Izzo made a joke to me, why don't we just trade ourselves? People think that the entire team was traded, but honestly, it really was a 2 for 2 trade with a couple of pieces added in for logistical and geographical reasons as well. And with that being said, I am trading away Sammy Miller, Hilo Schwartz, Avner Scotchless, and Dov Slansky, and in return receiving from Izzo, Archie Eichhorn, Morty Jacobowitz, Ellie Weiss, and the legendary, the one, the only, the pirate, Mikey Weiss.
So there's a lot of big names there. A lot of reaction. I mean, Dave, why don't you? You're the moderator here, and you
Go ahead,
ask
Avi.
people
No,
for their
go
opinion.
ahead.
No, what do you? What I'm curious what you think, Dave, because I could talk for days.
Well, Hillel Schwartz just called me. We're close from Forest Hills, and he said, I thought me and Hot Corner Weiss were developing something good. And I said, whatever you and the Hot Corner are developing, Archie's got a lot more history with him. So I said, he's the pride of Sharon, Massachusetts. He said he wants to be the pride of Forest Hills. So I don't have too much to say. It's obviously a blockbuster move. I think Hillel Schwartz, I'm very fond. I know Archie. So he's asking about this Archie guy, and I said, Archie does have aura. Archie's got a lot of aura, but I said, Hillel, I would pick you over Archie. The old heads are watching. They're going to say, you're crazy. But I feel like that was the heart of the move over here. I might be wrong, but I feel like that was the heart of the move.
I want to give a quick shout out. You mentioned Hillel calling you. So obviously when you're trading the first 2 overall picks and the highest dollar value, there's got to be a little bit of an explanation. And the shout out really is that I came to that draft alone. I picked up Sammy. He immediately jumped to one shoulder. And then I picked up Hillel, and he jumped to my other shoulder. And they stood behind me the entire draft until we had 11 players. And they gave me a tremendous amount of input and support throughout the draft. So, number one, that's big props to them. I did call them immediately after the trade was finalized, and I shook Izzo's hand. And I explained to them what happened. I don't want to say I apologize, but I sort of apologized. Although I do think that them two staying together, and Sammy still having Slansky, who's a current teammate of his, I don't think that they're going to be disappointed where they landed. If anything, maybe it's a better team for them. But just, Sammy and Hillel, love you guys. I was so pumped to get you, and Hillel, we're going to win the Shimkuttery ship next couple of weeks.
I'm a little worried about the chemistry when
we spoke about that. We're good. And Hillel is a new face and a name to HSL. I cannot say enough about him. He is legendary. He's the real deal. I think he's, like I said, he was a steal at 50. He'll probably go for 80 next year. Just wait and see what he does.
Very good. All right, so do you boys, before, this was originally supposed to be a captain's podcast, and Yossi Kaufman's going to be coming on at 3:30 if we're still going, because I got to run myself in a little while for analysis. Before we do more of a review of the draft and introduce ourselves to our new captain, is there any analysis that any of you want to give to this? Hot Corner, why don't you actually take us through what went on in order to make this trade happen?
All right, I woke up this morning absolutely not looking to trade. I mean, I heard Yossi Kaufman's take yesterday. He started off by saying I had one of the best teams. I know Avi thought someone else was better. I was so super happy with my team. We had everything positioned perfectly. Like I said, Hillel and Sammy, the top two, couldn't be more pleased with that. There was a dynamic of going into the draft that I had this fantasy. I was going to get Archie, Shmuel, Ezzy, Yankee, Chesky, and, bring back the boys from old. Archie and I have been playing softball for a long time. We've won some crazy championships going back to Coyle, Crown Heights. A couple years ago, the fall, Bay Park, I call it the freeze game. It was like 20 degrees, and we took off the best team of all time. We have some great wins together, and I would love to play with him. And it just didn't work out. I kind of winged it on the draft, and I wasn't able to get him. I jumped on Sammy, I jumped on Hillel, and there's no room left for Archie. With that being said, I did realize after speaking to Izzo is that, I think Archie would have been more valuable on my team with the vibes of Yankee Itzkwitz and Chesky Itzkwitz, who also have a really, really long relationship of playing with him. I think it's, a better fit for us than it would be for Izzo.
Would you say that Archie is a temperamental player, Hot Corner?
Absolutely not. But, Archie he's been playing a long time, and, I think he has a right to, feel comfortable with certain guys and not comfortable with other guys. He loves Izzo, and he loves to play, would love to play for Izzo. But if there's a bunch of kids that he doesn't know on the team, you're not going to get the same production. That's what I feel.
It's a fair take. And you were, and
Oh,
you,
but
yeah, go ahead, Avi.
no, just wanted to update everyone here. So, I got a message. I don't know if you could see. I'm too bright, I think. One of our new sponsors, Five Towns Restoration, who we're super happy and pumped to have on. They just sent me a message. Surprise, surprise! My brother-in-law is on my sponsored team, basically saying, "Don't let him get traded." LOL. So I'm not hinting at any potential further trades, but there might be some complications and some trades in the works that may or may not be involving Sam Rubenstein, because he's now officially. I got a message from the sponsor that the team he's sponsoring, Sam plays for. So I don't know now. The
It's going to be awkward, Avi.
HSL corporate might need to veto some trades that were in the works. Chaim, I want to hear your take. You're sitting there quiet and all nice, good looking, with apparently a gorgeous office, according to Double Golly, who visited you yesterday, or 2 days ago. What's your take on the trade? Archie obviously is a huge name. Sammy Miller is a big, Ellie Weiss, a lot of big names in there that we haven't even touched on.
I think it's a great trade for both teams. It's really that simple. I don't know. There's not much more to touch on. I didn't think a guy like Archie would get traded, but great value going both ways. I think both teams are very happy. And, yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. Great trade.
Dovey, any thoughts before we head into our captain recap and Dave could take the podcast away?
If I'm being honest, I was looking at the trade and I texted this out before and I was like, this is like one of those fantasy football trades that you just have 10 great players, 8 great players, and you just don't know who won. They were asking who won. I don't know. But I think it's very clear that one team feels that they, improved because they got Archie, and Archie is fantastic. But on the other hand, I'm saying there's also Sammy. It's honestly, I don't think it's gradable. I think it's just everyone's happy with what they got, and let's play ball.
Okay, I think what really needs to be looked at here, though, is the personalities, because I asked Yaakov if Archie's temperamental, and he said, of course not. But everybody knows that Yaakov and Archie are BFFs.
Yeah.
Their wives are jealous of their relationship, from everything I know, and people in the background are wondering the following: we, from day one, and with the encouragement of Yossi Kaufman and Steve Pollan and Yehuda Koenig, less Yehuda Koenig, he's not as into the talent thing, pushing for top tier talent. We called in Hot Corner Weiss to help us get Archie, and Yaakov texted us. He said mission accomplished, something like that. We had other people leaning on Archie, so I guess some people are just wondering, did Archie tell Yaakov that he's pulling that he's somebody sent a funny comment.
The words I got from people were holding out. That's what I got. I got holding out.
Archie said, Yaakov Weiss, you dragged me into this stupid draft tournament with a bunch of losers, and I'm only playing with Hot Corner Weiss. That's what people want to know.
Absolutely not. No way. First of all, Tuvia Blisco locked up Archie. You can put that for the record. That's for sure. Tuvia will confirm. Archie would have been happy playing with anybody. He loves Izzo. And be honest with you, there's so many boys of his in this team, in this tournament, whether it be Ezzy, Shmuel, Yankee now, Don Manella, Steve, Yehuda. Like, he goes so deep with half this tournament. He didn't say anything. I was texting him yesterday. I have screenshots to prove it. I was talking about his Izzo, landing on Izzo's team. I said, how do you feel about it? He was like, yeah, I love Izzo. It's great. Like, we discussed nothing about making a move. This was just I know that Archie, myself, Yankee, Chesky, we're going to have an awesome team together. I do think Izzo improved his team tremendously, getting some depth, or a lot of depth. And it was kind of like we walked away with what we wanted, and hopefully it works out for each of us.
I'll tell you before we move on, I think, from my opinion, this trade comes down to two things. What happened, David?
Yaakov Weiss totally snubbing Tzvi Weil and Sach Feldberg in terms of Archie's boys, I guess.
Am I going to list everybody? Yeah, of course, Tzvi and Sach. I mean, there's 75 of this draft is Archie's closest softball players or opponents for the last 15 years.
I will say, to break down the trade a little bit before we move on, I will say there is something to the point where obviously Archie's an extreme talent. And I think it's very well known throughout the community that I think Archie plays best when he's comfortable with his team. I don't think that's controversial at all. I think Archie's an extreme talent, and he's always going to be really, really good. But I think having a guy like Jakob Weiss, who he's very comfortable with, very close friends with, being the captain of the team he's playing on, I think will really get the most out of Archie, quote unquote. So I think that's a massive win for Jakob. I think on the other side,
it's also
Yaki, it's good. I think on the other side of things for Izzo needed depth, right? And he's getting depth. He's getting Sam Miller, who again might not be the player Archie is, but he's as close to Archie in the field, maybe equal or even better. Some would say, Pollen would shoot my head. But then you got a guy like Hill Schwartz, who's probably the biggest up-and-coming star in the HSL. And don't forget Avner Skotslis, who hasn't played softball in a couple of years, but apparently he was
a wild card. He's
very
a wild
potentially
card.
be a very talented. And Dov Slansky, who's not a solid first baseman, so they're getting a lot. And by the way, credit
These aren't
to
lightweights. These aren't lightweights.
and credit to Jakob Weiss. Again, Morty J, another guy, never played HSL before. Jakob Weiss is getting back some real talent.
Jakubovich. What do you call him, Jakub? Jakubovich?
I don't know.
Morty
I can't wait
J,
to-
Morty J. And also the biggest wild card in all of this, obviously Mikey Weiss, but Ellie Weiss. Ellie Weiss is a guy who can play anywhere, quite literally anywhere, and do it well, like really well, including pitcher, and he's a great hitter. So I think both teams get the big trade. I think it comes down to, I think the overall talent probably leans a little bit more towards Izzo, but obviously the biggest talent by far goes to Jakob, where I think Archie will excel a lot more than he would have on Izzo's team. That's my breakdown of the trade, if you want to hear that.
All right, so
Listen.
let's get into... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm done. Go, Davi, go.
No, so let's move on to Mr. Zagelbaum, who's looking very good, as was mentioned, who made the first trade of the
So it's
tournament.
every freaking comment is looks, yeah?
What's that?
That's all I am to you?
That is all you were until you agreed to be a captain, and now you're a captain. But that's actually the big
I was
question.
put in an awful position. That's
You're
it.
put in an awful position, but a lot of rumors are going around that you really put Steve Pollan and Suf Feldberg in charge of the team, and that's the question that's going on.
What's the question?
Are you still the captain? Are you still the captain of your team? Should we get the special printed sweatshirt that has a C on it for captain and give it to Steve or to Suf?
If they make it triple XL, get it for stuff. No,
Chaim, break down the trade. Break down the trade for us quickly. Chaim and Dovi, you guys obviously made a trade earlier on the draft. Let's get right into that, and we'll move on to your overall teams.
Dovey, I think Dovey's probably the Dovey you go first.
Okay, I mean, I'll just say it how it is. Chaim leaned over to me and said, we really want Sach. I said, Sach's a great catcher. He said, yeah, but Steve really wants him. I said, okay. Out and draft me Wurzburger and Sugarman. So he's like, okay, let's do it. I said, fine. If you make that happen, you could have Sach. He made it happen. We made the trade. I think it might be the worst trade value I've ever seen. They took it. I think Avi's very happy. I think I'm very happy. We got a super speedy outfielder in Wurzburger, smart player, can play anywhere in the outfield, and he can hit. And Sugarman has lots of pop, great catcher. Now, Sach definitely has a leadership ability. I'm saying I've been on his team for many, many years in Tier B, even Tier A, subbed a bit for him. So we're definitely be missing that, but I would take that 2-for-1 trade any day of the week.
There might where I would push back on you, Dovey, is that there's actually a similarity between the trades, which is that it's possible that Hot Corner Weiss unlocks Archie's potential in a way, and Sach unlocks Steve Pollan's potential in a way. You have two very dynamic presences that need to be in the right situation to excel. Steve said himself on the podcast he did with Avi, Yossi, and Koenig the other day, he needs his catcher to be just so. He needs a certain rhythm. He needs a certain tempo. He needs somebody who can work the umpires, work the batters, work the pitcher. So there might be, I would say, in a sense, it's a steal for you guys, but for them, the value might have been higher. I think that's the idea here.
Chaim, why don't you speak to that? I think that's what you were going to say.
Oh, and unlock Chaim Zagelbaum's potential as well.
To me, I think there's one thing that Sach is better at than anyone else is, first of all, as a catcher, I think he's the best catcher in the league. With the way he obviously keeps it under control. He knows how to talk to the umps. Dopey's laughing already. He knows how to get under the ump skin. He can hit. He's a great player. But not only that, he knows how to run a team. He's ran a team for a million years. I've never run a baseball team. The minute you have him on your team, your lineups are better, positioning's better. It's just that to me was the number one thing in getting. Obviously, Steve having his catcher was a huge part of it. But the fact that I have a guy that I can turn to for everything when it comes to leading this team was worth it. I mean, it would have been worth 4 points. I have no idea what I'm doing.
And by the way, that Dovey could tell you, I was pushing Dovey to bid, to get Sach for 12 or under. I was going up to 12. A lot of people were telling me at the time that you're crazy. Why don't you get a catcher who's not necessarily as talented, but get him for 4 or 5? As a pitcher, also for me, it's extremely, extremely important to have a catcher who is extremely, extremely solid behind the plate, knows what they're doing, but also, like Chaim's saying, he really could lead a team. He works the umpire, he works home plate. He brings energy every single game, which is very important. He is a leader on the field. And that's something that I didn't want to part with. When Dovey mentioned Ellie Sugarman to me, I happen to know Sugarman also doesn't necessarily have that leadership skill, but he also is a very talented catcher behind the plate where he knows what he's doing. He'll spot you in and out. He's a functional player. He's athletic. He's, first of all, also very fast. He knows how to hit. And you get a guy of Shlomo Wurzburger who's a real speedster and a very underrated player in the outfield. I just thought
So
overall...
Avi, let me ask you. After Steve, I'm getting a little more provocative. Yossi was pushing me to more provocative. After the podcast with Stephen Koenig and talking about catchers and this and that, I said to, I was talking to Morty Abitan yesterday, and I said, I feel like Avi, Morty's played with you a little bit now. Avi, I feel like you don't care who you pitch to. I know at times you've told me it's a pleasure pitching to certain people, but I've never got the sense for you that who your catcher is makes a massive difference in your pitching. Am I wrong about that?
I need someone functional. I can't have someone sitting there just catching them. I need someone to spot me in and out. It's a totally new game. Whether that's Benji Ashkenazi, Sach Felber, Yitzi Rosen, Ellie Sugarman. I need someone who knows what they're doing back there.
Well, you're mentioning top catchers. Well, you're mentioning top catchers, so maybe you do care a lot.
But there's
it's
a lot.
Not something I've heard you. It's not something I've heard you comment on before.
For me, it makes a big difference because I don't have any overpowering stuff or a riser or crazy speed. The way I excel in the tier 1 leagues is by going, and Chaim knows, is by going inside, outside, up, down, changing speeds.
I think it's also, especially with a guy like Avi, mental midget, having a catcher that could slow you down and really properly pace you makes a big difference.
Yeah, that also.
There's no one better at pacing the pitch.
Chaim, I think you need to move a little closer to your computer speaker, not a microphone.
You hear me?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
David, Dave just wants to get a better look at you.
Yeah, exactly. Zoom in if you want. I think there's no one better at slowing a pitcher down and just keeping the pitcher focused and steady than Sach.
Well, yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to go so heavy for him with Dovey.
Agreed.
But at the end of the day, we got a trade. I think was just very hard to refuse because if it was Wurzburger and a guy behind the plate who's just sitting there catching balls, I wouldn't have let Dovey did it because Ellie actually does not have that leadership, doesn't necessarily have that same leadership that Sach has, but he really knows what he's doing behind the plate and he's a talented hitter. It's worthwhile. And by the way, for Steve Pollan, it's more than just he gets a competent catcher who's a leader and this. Steve and Sach have been playing together for years and years and years.
Who caught Ash the other night?
Eli Sabo.
Is that Panda Beer 18? Oh, it's for sure Eli Sabo. He wrote, any of these people catch 300 pitches and 18 walks? That's nice.
Yeah,
Avi, we were definitely not jumping at the trade because we know what Sach brings to the table.
No, they came to us. Steve and Chaim came to us.
Exactly. Yeah, I think another big deal. I think another big deal is just that we happen to have, like I'm saying, Avi, we know you can talk for everybody on the team. You're loud enough for that. Yes. And Baruch Hashem, I also have a leadership ability. So not that Sach wouldn't have a place. Of course he would because he's been leading for years. But I think we have that role filled. Yeah, we're missing out on him. But I don't think it's something that we needed so much more of. So I think it was definitely worth trading away for Sugarman and Wurzburger.
So, Dovey, why don't you tell us more about your leadership ability? I don't think the community knows you so well at this point. What gives you strong leadership ability? Tell us a little bit about your background, so on and so forth.
My background. Okay, so I grew up in Queens, New York, and I went to Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. When I went to Eretz Yisrael, I ran the AFI there for 3 years, so that comes for leadership. I also play quarterback in football, so it also requires some leadership. And no one not knowing me just comes to the fact that I'm now in Yeshiva in Muncie, so I got stuck with this other league. I can't really name the name of the league.
No, MSL you
let's
could.
just
MSL
say-
you could.
Oh,
We've done
yeah?
podcasts.
Okay.
We've done podcasts.
It's okay, fine.
Once
So
upon a
this
time we
league,
did an
named-
Once upon a time we did an all-star game with them also. Once upon a time.
Oh yeah. All right, I remember that. They told us that.
We
But either way,
dominated. We
MSL
dominated over there.
Of course we did. MSL, it was awesome to play in. I like the guys, I'll be honest, in HSL more, and that drove me to come
Really?
back to HSL basically.
What do you
Come
like
here.
more
Yeah,
about
100%.
Dovey? What do you like more? Who do you like in HSL? Tell us more about that.
Who do I like? Well, first of all, I mean, there's a lot of overlap, right? I'm saying Jonas Lowinger, Avi Edelman, the Sheriff, they all play in multiple leagues, right? It's not just those. It's the guys, the type of guys I find in HSL. They're much younger, and they're guys that I've been to camp with. A lot of these guys, like a lot of guys that drafted to my team, I know because of camp or because of yeshiva. MSL is built, I think, towards the older players. I'm not saying there aren't young guys there, but a lot of them are just like, I don't know, like Ellie Weiss, Weissmandel has like a team for a billion years, and Schwabel. There's some guys there that are just like 50 years old. They're not bad. They're great guys, but I'm a little bit younger than that.
I didn't realize that. That's interesting because sometimes I feel like in HSL there's so much age as well, and it's one of the reasons I was encouraging younger people like Morty Gindoff, for example, to be a captain is because you want to develop young captaincies. So I thought that the HSL was top heavy, but it sounds like maybe it's a softball problem,
Yeah, no, right, that's true. It could be. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with a discrepancy in age, meaning the spectrum's very big. That's fine. The problem, I think, with MSL is that it's just very top heavy. Like everybody,
Yeah.
maybe.
That's what happens when you have
in
one
HSL.
tier. When you have one tier, that's what happens. When you have one tier, that's what's
Right.
gonna
And
happen.
by the way, it's for sure true. It's for sure true. You have fewer captains, 100%. That's something I think HSL did that was very smart.
I just
Only
got a
one thing,
message
though.
from Avner. Avner Scotchless, who hasn't played softball in like 10 years, but used to be a very talented player. I know him from Forest Hills. Also, he's lived in Great Neck now for a long time. He just messaged me. I was traded? What team am I on now? He has no idea what he got himself into. Like, he's like, what the hell is wrong with this league? I just playing softball. You guys have trades. You have draft parties. You guys need to get a life. Like, he's like,
Right.
we're-
He's been playing Great Neck baseball with Glenn Zuckerman, so he is on the scene a little bit.
oh, I had no idea. So he's still active.
Yeah,
Okay,
a good
that's
captain. It scouts out his potential trade. And I spoke to Glenn actually this morning. Glenn can confirm. I got the full report. Izzo is aware of it. Izzo knows him very well. He's not
Izzo played in the old HSL with Avner Scotchless
Correct.
when it was fully in Queens under Ariel's jurisdiction.
Give the
many
guy
years
credit
ago.
because I know Rafi Cohn thinks that Avner Scotchless is an auto out. Yeah. Meanwhile, Avner Scotchless might be the biggest steal of this trade.
Where did Rafi Cohn? Rafi Cohn's he's packing a big punch for a young kid. He's got a. I can't wait to.
Dave, Rafi Cohen comes over to me at the draft. I'm like, Rafi, you guys are talking about joining Tier 1 in the night league, and you guys couldn't even make it past the quarterfinals of Tier 2. He's like, what do you mean? We're coming to Tier 1 next year. I'm like, you're joking, right? He's like, no, I'm not. We're combining with this other team. We were missing 3 guys. We're bringing them. I guarantee you we join Tier 1 next season, and I guarantee you we're going to be competitive. I'm like, I don't know if I can approve that. And they started going, like, him and Yaron came at me. So, like, they definitely packed big punches. The question is whether they could, follow through on any of the punches. So I guess we'll have to see.
So Zegelbaum, actually, let's stick with Dovey for a minute. Yaron, Yaron, I love Yaron. So Dovey, I have a question. Who nominated Avi Edelman as pitcher? Was it you? Was it your plan to get him all along?
Chaim nominated me.
Chaim nominated.
Yeah, Chaim did, right? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Chaim just fell off. But
Chaim, was that
Chaim
strategic,
nominated.
or you were interested in getting Avi?
He just blinked
I
himself.
think we lost Chaim.
Yeah,
Okay, I think we
So
lost Chaim, but-
Dovey, what was your strategy?
So for me,
Sorry.
honestly, I did
Oh,
the
Chaim's
hardest
there.
thing.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
back.
yeah, wait, I want to hear Chaim's thoughts first.
Chaim, you
Yeah.
nominated Avi as a strategy
Yes.
to get to Paul. Okay, so Dovey, we'll get back to you in a minute. Tell us about it, Chaim.
I knew someone would overpay for him, so I nominated him, let someone waste their money, and then play
Wait,
it out.
what? Wait, hold up.
Again, I will say, Avi ended up going for less money than I thought, but nominating him was purely to get someone else to spend money on him. Yes.
Was
What
your
do you
goal, Chaim,
think-
to get Steve Powell the whole time?
Yeah. 100%.
And
Yeah,
Such. Okay, so Zagelbaum was doubling down.
I think Suck came after.
No,
Suck came after.
no,
I spoke to
goal-
Chaim in his office
want
about an
no,
hour before the draft, and he told me Such Feldberg is high in his priority list.
Oh wow.
There were 3 guys that were non-starters for me. I wanted Steve, I wanted Suck, and I wanted Zach Grunfeld. Suck, early on when he got nominated, we felt like it was a little more than we would have liked to pay for him. And then towards the end, when we were lacking at catcher, we went out and got him. We did what we had to do. And Grunfeld, we were going to pay whatever it took.
Oh, yeah,
I'm very high on
Zach-
Grunfeld also.
Zach was our guy. We just didn't have enough money. We really wanted him.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
By the way, just to clarify, when I say we, I mean Dovey Geitzel's. Obviously not a captain. He's just a commissioner. Like I'm saying, he's not even a commissioner in this.
Wait, so Dovey, tell me let's hear your how you
right.
how you stole candy from a candy shop when it came to Avi Edelman.
So I'll start with this. First of all, I did the
But
smartest
let
thing.
me be clear. I
and
think $45 for Avi Edelman is an absolute steal from a baseball perspective. But
Good.
sitting next to him the entire night I wouldn't pay $1.
Oh my gosh, my left ear hurts because I can't hear him. My right ear hurts from you yelling back at him. No, but really, back to my strategy was, first of all, I called Jonas and Lowinger about 25 minutes before the draft on my ride in, and I spoke to him, and he really gave me some really good insight. I think the most important thing is that if I figured out how much the pitcher would go for, I would then know how much one's having such a blast in the background right now. So, you know,
Who's blasting?
am I the only one that hears it? I don't know. Okay, not anymore. Maybe it's you. I don't know. Okay. And what you call it? If somebody pitcher, which I did yesterday, happened first, I would then know how much basically every other pitcher would go for, because no one's gonna go over. No one did. So, you got to like 80s. I'm gonna go for one of the medium right there. I think they're me and you.
Nah, he's done. Dave, he's done. He's done. He's done. He's got to mute himself. He's got to mute himself.
Dave, I'm going to switch to my phone.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, Steve was also mentioning he was having trouble hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, Dovey's done. Dovey, you need better service, Dovey. You gotta get you're in a rough patch here. Yaakov, why don't you talk on a couple? Why don't you talk on your pitcher and how you came along to your guy?
I'm back.
So I went into the
Do you hear me
draft.
better now? Am I better?
Yeah, much
Perfect.
better,
Much better.
much
Yaakov,
better.
you go ahead on your pitcher now.
So I don't know much about Ari. I obviously, I've seen him. Maybe like I came to a late game and he was finishing an early game. I don't remember if David, did we face them in the regular season this year? Kavana? I don't even know if we did.
Yeah,
I might-
we were actually the only team that beat them. I don't think you were added to the team
I think
yet,
I might.
Yaakov.
Did I miss the game? I might have
It was
missed the game.
1-0 in like 9 innings.
Well, we beat
All
them.
I
I
know
think
is
that's
that
all I
Ari
remember.
Ari Slamovic is having an incredible B League year. I keep on hearing Avi talk about his Cy Young numbers, which is, that's all Avi likes to talk about, Cy Young. With that being said, he has a phenomenal defense behind him because Suf Felberg, as the captain, always puts together a great squad. So I knew that if I get a guy like Ari with a good defense and a good team, he can obviously deliver, and his bat is tremendous. I think he's batting like 600 or something. He's an incredible ball player. I drafted him. He texted me 10 minutes right afterwards. Really pumped. I was pumped, and never had any thoughts of, getting rid of him or doing anything like that. So we just added good defense behind him. Archie and Sammy, both amazing gloves. So that's even. Morty Jacobowitz, everyone tells me he's a phenomenal shortstop. Like nothing really changed on that level. Mikey Weiss, is playing first base. Everybody. So we're gonna hit him right in the chest, and he's gonna deliver. He's gonna deliver.
That's great. By the way, Ari Slomowitz also could play first and second, so like he's also, he's a utility guy as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Ari's unavailable 1 week, I have now a backup pitcher that I did not have before. I actually got 2 backup pitchers. Ellie Weiss is a phenomenal backup pitcher.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think Ari's missing any weeks, but if he needed to, or if he wanted to take a break on a meaningless game, we can put him somewhere else and, bring in Mikey or Ellie if needed.
So let's go back to what Dovey was saying a few minutes ago about, I don't remember what it was. It was about bringing Avi on board?
Yeah, bro, drafting Edelman.
The Edelman.
Yeah, the Edelman. Dovey, are you better now, or are you still broken up? Nah, he's on mute. Yeah,
He's not on mute. I don't think he's. Oh, he is on
You
mute.
hear me?
Now we
No.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm on the road, so let's hope for the best. No, I was
Okay.
saying that Avi was not my next best option. It could have been a stop also, but when I saw that price, I only jumped in at like 30 something, and then it just went up to 45. But I wasn't in, not because I don't love Avi. I love Avi. He respects me, respects my game, knows I'm a very good third baseman.
Yeah.
And what you call it? So
Premium.
I said, okay, I'm going after Avi, and then premium exactly. But then he really made me jump on the Matt train. Now, I was not a big believer in spending a lot of money, even on the best player, arguably the best position player. So
Arguably, are you out of your mind, Dovey?
I don't know. Someone else gave me some. I don't. Okay, fine.
I disagree.
The best position player.
You start every game up 2-0 with Matt.
Yeah,
on
I
your team.
agree. No, 100%. Now, the difference is that I didn't want to spend 83 on a player unless I had to. I was targeting Hillel Rokach. Love him. He's unbelievable. But once we got to him, he was nominated very late. I had no money left, basically. So that was Matt. Matt was all Avi, as we know. I don't know if you know the text, but
Yes.
Matt was all Avi. And after that, it was
Tax
just
Relief
figure out how
Pro,
we find
baby.
all-
Tax Relief Pro. Tax Relief Pro.
Nice for another really good squad. 23 steal. Guys on every team you can think of.
Sounds like Dovey is scuba diving right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, we got him away from Dovey.
Hello,
Much we love him.
Schwartz just left my WhatsApp team chat. He put up a peace symbol and he said, "Us four, we're gonna look down at you from the podium." And he bounced.
Daddy could
I
connect
give him credit. It was like a really solid move.
Wait, he left the chat and what? I missed it. He left the chat and what?
He wrote a message with a peace symbol. Us four, we're gonna look down on you from the podium. And he just bounced from the chat.
Avi,
He just-
you know what Hillel Schwartz has from the first minute I met him? He's
Aura.
got he's got aura
Big
and he's
burst
got
energy.
he's got big burst energy. He's got big burst energy.
I love him. He really is a great player, great attitude. We're gonna miss him. And yeah.
He's also,
I
by the
just-
way, very fast. He has a lot of speed, Hillel Schwartz.
You saw him going versus Morty Abitan. I was shocked.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He's a freak athlete. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah. So Dovey, let's go to. So I made some of my feelings about Avi known yesterday. Avi, arguably, I played on the same team as you for as long as anybody in the HSL. It hasn't been for a few years, but we've probably played 5 seasons together.
5 Sundays.
5 Sundays together. How many people
Well,
have you played?
not 5 Sunday. I think 5 seasons, including spring and summer. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Not 5
Yeah.
years.
How many
5 seasons.
people have played 5 seasons with you?
Anyone who was on the Moshe Feintach Monday Night crew, I think we played 6 years together before that one fell apart.
No, there were 6 years of melee machines. Not a chance. No way, Avi.
Our first year, we didn't make the playoffs. Our second year, we won the championship. Our third year, we lost in the semis. Our fourth year, we lost in the Yeah, 6 years.
Really? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Got it. So maybe I'm wrong about that. But what I was gonna say was that I think what people don't understand. You
Sorry,
have
5
guys-
years. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 5 years.
You have guys who bring up entire teams. Right now, our team is benefiting from Hot Corner Weiss doing that. You know, seriously, a guy who has a certain drive, a certain competitiveness, a certain desire to win. You know, I don't know Dovey Geisels well enough, but I'm sure he has that too. Chaim Zegela. But Avi's one of those guys who lifts up an entire team with his desire to win, his interest in winning. There are small detail. Steve wrote, not many have played 5 seasons with Avi. He wears out his welcome very quickly.
I was gonna say not many people are stupid enough to play 5 seasons with him.
Where are you seeing all these messages on the chat?
For some, it's very annoying.
On the live
other
stream,
guests,
probably.
the other guests aren't able to see it. Me as the host can see it, or if you're watching on YouTube, go to the YouTube link and you can see all the bullshit that everybody's saying.
Got you.
So I think Avi brings up a whole team with his desire to win. You know, it gets annoying, like Steve said, 100 messages in 3 hours about whether somebody should play at a 60-degree angle or
The
an
problem
80-degree
is the desire to also want to kill yourself when he's on your team. This shit.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But that might have a unique thing in a draft tourney where you know you can say goodbye to the guy after the season, never have to talk
Oh, yeah,
to
I
him
know
again.
that's great. You want
It's
to
a-
team
it's a
that
little
just wants the
commitment.
season to end.
It's a
okay.
small
It's a
commitment.
small
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah.
It's a small commitment.
6 week, 7 week commitment.
My goal is to get 10 guys who just want to go home. That's
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're winding down here a little bit. Yossi Kaufman is supposed to join in 7-8 minutes. I don't know if you guys want to keep schmoozing or what to do.
I'm curious what you guys think about
I'm good.
other
I'm driving.
captains. If you guys have any other thoughts on any other captains, anyone you think drafted. Obviously, you guys all think you drafted a great team. If you had any particular captains that jumped out at you that drafted a great team other than yourself.
I think
I don't really know anyone else's teams.
Abidan was unbelievable. Abidan was unbelievable. I mean, first of all, I love hearing his takes. I've said it all the time. He's funny as anything, and he's very smart, calculated decision maker. But I was looking at his team. I don't have it offhand right now as I'm driving, but I remember looking at his team being like, that's a very competitive team for the amount of money he also spent. Unbelievable.
I think Levenger drafted well also.
I also do, by the way. I think it's on the radio.
Levenger
No one's
doesn't have
talking
a
about
he
it.
doesn't. Well, I'll tell you, everyone's scared about his pitching. Not that Craig's amazing, but then again, he's still trying to go out there and trade
That was
people.
Levenger's scouting
reaching out to me all day.
report. Lavender told me before the draft he's going all in for as many solid players as possible, and he'll settle with the pitcher. So he definitely, Lavender definitely checked off.
It's very
his
interesting.
report.
It's very interesting because last year's championship was the tale of two Mahalchim in drafting.
Yeah.
You had $1 Mikey Weiss and you had $50-something. The truth is we haven't had an $80 pitcher go to a championship. It's only been one season so far. You had a $1 guy and a $50 guy. So it could be the Dan
Yeah, but I
Brauns
think Koenig's value. I think Koenig's value is in the $80 range. He just each year was injured or not, so everyone was scared. Which I was scared this year as well.
Well, Dobie, I think to be honest, Yehuda Koenig, I think, and he'll admit this, he was known as like a legend in the 5-town space for a very long time. I think before the Twillory tournament, it was like, whether it's true or not, the vibe around the HSL community was Kaufman, Paul, and Ash, and then like a nice solid like space, and then Koenig, because he was hurt a lot, he wasn't pitching so much.
a lot of psychological, a lot of mental health issues also, he's told me recently.
He was the backup.
I don't know why I'm making fun of mental health.
That's not normal.
I shouldn't be doing that.
He was the backup on the Bombers. He was the backup on his Monday night team. But then once the Twillory tournament came, and he absolutely quite literally dominated, and then you go into our Monday night season, our Sunday morning, and the domination just literally went for 12 months straight. I think his value sort of came back to where everyone thought he was and dropped down from.
Right. No, I definitely that's true. That's for sure valid. But for me, it was mostly injury. That was the scariest thing I saw. So I think the morning up, right? Like, he might be out for a little bit because he might be injured. I'm like, I'm not spending $80 on that. Now, I don't remember what he went for. What did he go, mid-60s? What did he go for?
No, 81.
He went for 80? Okay, so once again, if he's pitching and he's there every game and he's full-time, that's a steal. I'm saying whatever. That's a top pitcher. That's an ace.
I have a fun two-part question for Yaakov Weiss. Yaakov, you obviously
Hot corner Weiss.
You obviously played with Yehuda for many years, or at least in the same league as Yehuda. A, was Yehuda worth the $81 from when he was picked? And B, what's a better version of Yehuda Koenig? The Yehuda Koenig now or the Yehuda Koenig 15 years ago?
So you were talking about Yehuda, how he kind of took a little bit of a back seat. I actually watched that happen, and it was mostly due to injury, actually. So I joined Smacking Pitches before the HSL era, and Yehuda was the starter, and actually Ezzy was his number one catcher. Just to go back to David's point, catcher makes a tremendous difference. Watching Yehuda throw to Ezzy behind the plate, Ezzy's giving him signals, framing pitches, firing back cannons right back at him. It was a thing of beauty. Yehuda got a little hurt, and then Yossi, who was kind of like the backup, became the number one starter, and there was a little bit of who should start in the big important games. Adding to Yehuda's injury, that's how it all, Yehuda took, I think, probably about maybe a season or two break until his return in the tournament. So it's very different. Yehuda, I think, used to be a little bit more powerful than he is now, but I think his riser has actually improved tremendously, and what he's able to mix up. When I play him on a Sunday morning Shul League team, it's incredibly difficult to get a hit off of him. It's a little bit of a different feel. The fact that him and Steve are still going so strong at their extended long age is mind-blowing, and I give them tremendous credit for that. But yeah, he's phenomenal. $80. I do think it was a little steep. I spoke to Morty Gendolf this morning. We had a long conversation. We did try to make a deal because I love Yehuda and I wanted to. That would have been a trade that if Morty would have agreed to it, I would have won tremendously. Morty saw right through it and said no.
Can you tell everyone watching the proposed trade?
I mean, I was trying to basically get Yehuda and for Ari. Again, no, I hope Ari doesn't take this the wrong way, but Yehuda is just a different.
Ari Slamowitz?
Yeah, it was going to be getting Morty Gendolf, Ari Slamovic, and getting Yehuda back, and then adding a couple pieces. I don't remember what we discussed, but for me, it was like I had so much flexibility. My team is very deep. I don't have any really weak C-League players. Everyone is like even keel across the board. So I have room to give Morty what he needed. Morty has 7 players under $10. He has 5 players under $5.
Yeah.
He went top heavy, and I think Yehuda was a little bit too expensive for him. He should have tried to keep him at 50, 60. And then once he went Yehuda, I think Hillel was purchased for the exact amount he should have been, but he cannot have been bought by Morty.
I don't know how aggressive Morty's being. I'm getting a lot of messages from captains inquiring just on values of players. I haven't gotten one message from Morty, I don't think at least. I would have thought he would be super aggressive during these 2 trade deadline days. Not that his team's terrible, but like you were saying, Jakob, he's very top heavy and probably could have gotten a lot of very good pieces for one of his higher guys.
I think that Morty, my sense from being pretty close with him this year, played on 3 different teams. I also consider him my personal assistant. I think he knew he's a young kid. He's a redhead also. For those of you who know redheads, it doesn't help. Dovi, are you a redhead or a blondie?
None. Dark brown.
Oh, really? You're
Yeah.
dark brown? I don't know. No, I think he's very... Thank you. I think he knew that he needed like a real veteran presence to help him. That's my sense of it. And he was willing... And he developed a relationship with Koenig from our, Night Squad hot corner. And I think he felt like, I got to go all in on this guy. And when he finished, I said, I looked at him and he just like nodded like, this is what I needed to do. That's
I think
Getting
on
Yehuda
the
at $80 is not like it wasn't the worst move, but taking Hillel Rokach afterwards for 55 was basically
That was
put
too
him
high.
in
Yeah,
position way
exactly.
too high.
But that's a big problem. That was a big
It
problem.
was suicide, huh?
He went all in on 3 players, him, Yehuda, and Hill, and those guys are amazing, but it left him with a little bit of a weaker bottom half.
Uh-huh.
I think the whole discussion with on the chat with quote unquote overpaying for the big pitchers. If you look around the room on draft night, all the guys who overpaid for big pitch for the better pitchers had someone sitting next to them the entire time. It's worth its value.
Listen,
Well,
Yehuda, Morty admitted to me that Yehuda took over his draft for him. So, and he did also tell me that he was a little overwhelmed during the draft. It is his first time. He has not been in the HSL, for maybe 2 years now. What is it? He's not been playing with half of these guys like, some of the older guys have for 15 years. So, there's a lot of different names and different values out there he wasn't familiar with, and I think that affected him as well.
For sure. There were also glitches like. Eitan did a great job. Don't get me wrong, and Tuvia were amazing, but like there were random glitches, and that also added more stress. So he was under a lot of pressure. But one other thing is that, like, I think the funniest thing that happened was when Chaim turned to me and he said, let's make this trade. And on my computer, on the side screen, Sach is middle texting me like, oh, we should draft this guy. We should draft that guy. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god.
I'll show you what
I'm
Sach was
literally
texting me
trading you.
later.
You can't show live?
No.
Oh, yeah.
All right, the sheriff Yossi Kaufman told me that he can't make it work. Got crazy, so we're gonna shut down in a minute. I just have a question for you guys. What do you mentioned Dovi Chaim? It was you who said that everybody who drafted top pitcher had somebody sitting next to them for the rest of the draft. Something interesting, like I posted a thank you to everybody who helped with the draft party and the draft, and like the people really pushing me and Avi to make something great, create something great for the community. It's mostly these old pitchers. Yossi's younger than Steve and Yehuda, obviously, but Yossi's been doing this. Yossi was a commissioner like more than 10 years ago, I think. So he was in his mid-20s, probably from the age of about 25 to 30, he was a commissioner, maybe 27 to 32, something like that. So he's been like playing organized softball probably for 20 years. Steve and Koenig speak for themselves, obviously, how many years. But I guess my question is, what is it that it's the pitchers who are kind of the leaders in the community? What did Steve call himself the other day when he was taking credit for Dicker's win? The elder statesman or something
Elder
like
statesman.
that. Our elder statesmen all seem to be pitchers. It's interesting.
Dovey?
Speechless. Let me jump in here. No, I would say I think it's similar to football, like with the quarterback. Even pitchers are the driving force behind their team, and there's something obviously that comes with age and experience that you want something to be great, you want a league to be great, and you want to create something in the community that makes the community better. And once again, that's another reason that drove me back to HSL, is that there's something great going on there. I'm saying the Tourney tournament is unbelievable. Last year, it was phenomenal. This year, it got even better. And I think next year, it's going to get even better. But I don't know. I think it's just the pitchers that are driving force. They're the ones leading the team. Every play starts with them. And they've been doing it a long time.
Dovey, so you're playing third base. You're the starting third baseman on your squad? So
I mean, I don't
Avi
think
Edelman
anything's
says,
like official, but yeah. Meaning like we're
Avi
going to move
Edelman-
everyone around to see what people can play.
Avi Edelman says you're not yet a premium third baseman. I've called Avi. I said, Dovey guys, we played a few games. I said he's really good. He said he hasn't. He's untested in the big moments. He's untested in the big spots. Now, here's my question for you. You're in a semifinal game. It's the last night. You get to the semis. You make a huge error in the first inning. A run comes in. You make a huge error in the second inning. And Avi starts pacing. Avi told me he got much better. He doesn't yell at people anymore, but he starts pacing around the mound like Max Scherzer.
I don't yell. I go, come on. I used to go, Dovey, wake up. Now I go, come on.
That used to be that.
Yeah.
Thorn.
Have you guys played together?
Too many times.
Oh, I didn't know that in Romamu and OBBL.
Well, no. I'm saying I
MSL?
subbed for him. I subbed for him a ton in HSL because Lowinger is always on his team. So
On
I
our
used to sub
Sunday
for him a ton.
on our Sunday morning team in the
Ah.
spring before.
And I'll be honest. My performances, if you look at the stats in Game Changer or whatever you keep, my performances on Night League versus the Sunday Morning League completely different.
Also,
There's something about, like-
Dovey played a lot of first base for us in the Sunday morning
True,
when he subbed for us. He didn't really play much of third because we had Zid and Rokach. So what are you gonna do?
You did,
It's
right?
like-
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
So, Chaim, do you have any advice for surviving Avi as a captain that maybe Dovey can benefit from?
Yeah, cut yourself.
You mean cut yourself from the team or cut yourself physically?
Oh my
I-
gosh, David, stay away from these names. Mental health.
I
Fighting
actually have a
yourself. What's
question.
wrong with you?
Dovey and Yaakov, I have a question. I was obviously told I'm going to be a captain about 45 minutes before the what's it called. You guys had a lot more time to prepare. What was your mindset going in? Like, what was the strategy for you guys?
Yaakov, age
Because
first.
I quickly put together somewhat of a strategy, but like I'm curious what you guys had, like the couple days or weeks, or some people months leading up that you were able to put together a legit plan.
Honestly, like I thought I was gonna sit down on Monday and like really like spend an hour looking at the Google Sheets, and like I was gonna create a new Google Sheet and start putting like all my potential guys I wanted and where I was gonna spend on them, and it never happened. So again, like I said, I had this fantasy of getting like all the guys I wanted. Didn't work out that way. I literally, this is God's honest truth. I just came and just winged it, and that was it. I know a lot of the guys. I don't know a lot. I don't know some of the guys. I was using Sammy Miller and Hiller Schwartz for a little bit of advice for some of the players I wasn't familiar with. I was quickly opening up my phone and Googling, getting their pictures from the HSL website. I just kind of went right at it. That was my strategy.
For me, it was very, very similar. I really promised myself, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to make it happen. Never happened. I walked in there. I had spoken to Lowinger on the phone about 20 minutes before, as I mentioned before. And I basically said, okay, I'm just going to nominate whoever, I see on the board. I'm just like, I scrolled down the list. I couldn't rely on the Google Sheets because I was looking at some of these rankings and some of them are just simply just inaccurate. And that does come from the fact that Avi Edelman was included in the committee of rating. And,
Well,
he
Dovey,
knows everybody, but the problem.
Your spreadsheet that you made was really good that you sent me.
Yeah. Well, once again, because
guys. Oh, sorry.
No, I took Tuvia's, right? Credit to Tuvia. He made a fantastic spreadsheet, and I basically just changed it for myself in certain ways, but I didn't have time to like go through everybody. And I'm saying it was the spreadsheet was for people if you literally didn't know the guy at all, just hope that Avi wasn't lying or didn't make him a phenomenal player, even though he wasn't. But then again, everyone's up and coming and phenomenal. You know, at one point I was up and coming and phenomenal. And now it's just like, I don't know. So I just went through it. I went in there and I just put up whoever I saw fit. But I'll be honest, I'll just give you one more bit, is that I spoke to Tuvia after the draft, and I said, you know, I went in with a plan, just like Yaakov was saying. I went in with a plan, who I wanted, and a whole list. And I saw, Chaim, you also had next to me a nice list of people. And for me, it ended up being just like, I said to him, maybe next year, instead of like, because there's no way to like target your guy, because basically it's like an auction of just random people whenever it is. You can't actually, you know,
It's funny,
figure out you allocate your
Dovey,
money.
I actually got 5 guys who were legitimately like on my list. Like I
Really?
wanted them and
That's
got
impressive.
them 5. Yeah.
That's very impressive. Were
Yeah.
they nominated late?
Some it was split. I don't know.
Okay. But a lot of them
say-
I found was Zev was nominated. Zev was my top tier one. I was telling Avi from the beginning after I drafted him, and we just couldn't afford him to you. You guys
But the
had more
amount
money.
of guys
Yeah.
that we passed on purely because we wanted to save up money for him, and it ended up working out. right?
Crazy.
The, the highest spend pass.
Where does that? What position does Zev play?
Shortstop.
Everywhere in the
Shortstop,
infield. The guy's an incredible
outfield,
athlete.
Everywhere.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable athlete.
He's awesome.
Unbelievable.
Dave, he plays with
He
us
was my
Wednesday
camper.
night.
I'll see him Wednesday night. We're actually missing a bunch of guys for Wednesday night, Chaim, unfortunately.
I
That's a shame.
I called
That's a shame.
Yankee Itzkowitz. I called Yankee Itzkowitz twice before the draft. I wanted to confirm the current injury report and how his OBBBL went this past summer. I heard what I wanted to hear. He was a guy I wanted, and I stole him at $30. That's the only successful pre-draft planning that I executed.
Well, I got Steve, I got Saf, I got Aaron, I got Zev, and I got Jason. That was five guys
That's
on
crazy.
like my
By the way,
legit on my
Ari,
list.
you have a guy on your team, Ari Ellenberg. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it because I've heard Yehuda Koenig say it to his face. He's overweight. He does not look like an athlete, but man, he gets every damn play at second base. He can hit. Don't sleep, and he's like 50 years old. Do not sleep on Ari Ellenberg. That's all I
Oh,
can
I'm
say.
super excited. He was at the draft with us. I'm beyond excited about my team. I think my
Yeah,
team
he's-
is
And he's
stacked.
he's a great guy. He's a great
Yeah.
guy also. And he works at Citibank, so if you need help with something, he's the guy who
I think
Oh my
I think teams are going to struggle putting up runs against my team.
makes sense. I can't find a hole in your
I mean,
field.
Chaim,
Yeah.
Chaim, it's hard to argue with that when you have one of the best pitchers. I'm saying,
Yeah.
Again, look at my field. Look at my field. My field is.
I mean,
is
I heard your left fielder can't hit.
my left fielder.
If it's you, I think it's you.
Okay, by the way, I'm looking at Gindof's lineup because he's my close friend, and you were saying that he spent too much on Koenig and Rokach, but something he did get is Michael Cohen at $4. Who's
He's a great
Yes.
outfielder.
He's
Yes,
as good in
that we would've
outfield.
wanted him.
Yeah, he's as good in, like, I don't know. I have a thing, like, I feel like amazing outfielders are almost a dime a dozen. I hate to say it because, like, it sounds so disrespectful. Like, Cohen is, he's up there, elite. He's not elite, but what's one cup below elite? You know, he's one cup below that, and he was $4. And then you have
Well, Dave,
Mendy.
who's considered elite? Who are you talking? Who's elite?
Good question, Avi.
Right?
Who's elite? Matt
It is.
Rosenberg is obviously elite. Is Jack
Okay.
Ross elite? Probably.
Okay.
Who else is elite? I don't know.
I would say there's 5 or 6 guys who you could call elite on the
I think
outfield.
Snead Home runs pretty elite. The guy covers.
And then he also has Mendy Warsh at first base, who went for $3 and can hit and play
Yeah.
great first base. So he did get tremendous value with $7. I don't know some of the other guys. And Benji Horowitz was mentioned in the pod with Yossi and Avi and Yehuda and Steve. Benji Horowitz at $24 that's a $40+ player. I mean, I would take a lockdown shortstop who can't hit at $30. Somebody who can make 9 out of 10 plays at shortstop and can't hit a wink, I would take for $30 in a second. Benji, not only can he play short, he can hit.
Yeah.
$24 is a total steal. And then you have Yitzi Miller. I mean, Yitzi Miller at 19. Yitzi's, he's a question mark with all his injuries. But we got to stop. I got to go. Yossi can't make it. It was a real pleasure to have you, Dovi and Chaim. Chaim, the second podcast. Dovi, the first. Yaakov, Hot Corner Weiss had to go. He probably has a tennis match or a pickleball match. He's involved
Quick shout out to all of our sponsors: Tax Relief Pro, Ultimate VAS, Target Exterminating, Clear Services, Vision Vinel, Twillory.
Vinyl.
I go Vinel. Qualify Protein, Prime Cuts, Extreme Vent Cleaning, Power Up New York, Barbacoa, and last but certainly not least, the last sponsor that we acquired, Five Towns Restoration. Thank you to all you guys.
Wait, I also want to give a special shout out. Well, two shout outs. One is the first sponsor we had on board is Mendy Rosen. Big Yasher Koch to the Rosens.
Vision Vinyl or Vinyl.
Vision Vinyl. He was the first sponsor we had that actually put up money. We have some of these barters and this
Avi,
and that.
spell vinyl.
He put up money. Mendy's awesome. I've met him in person once. ET Rosen, I've met in person 4 or 5 times. They're amazing people. They're great people. They're generous people. Big thank you to Mendy Rosen, who I hope comes down. He's already sponsoring Smash House for the teams. Also, I want to let people know, Baruch Hashem, we did much better with the sponsorships this Twillory tournament than we did last year. But we're putting all the money back into the product. We're live streaming every game. The Walls crew, who had some tech difficulties at the draft board, but they worked it out.
They're unbelievable.
They're unbelievable. They're great. We're spending money and we're paying Lewis Walls, his son, and Joe Walls, his other son. We're paying them to do all this stuff. The one's in high school, one's in junior high. They're great. They're cute. They're wonderful young kids, and we're going to be live streaming every game, Be'ezras Hashem. And we're very thankful that we have these sponsors, but we're also putting it back into the product. So thank you guys.
Dave,
100%.
Dave, I have one more question before we go. When's HSL golf happening?
By the way, Chaim Zegelbaum golfing with Mordechai Shapiro last week. Chaim Zegelbaum, you know how they talk about the big real estate moguls?
Oh my gosh, the crush on Chaim is crazy.
In a couple of years,
Amazing.
What's the guy's name? Barnett? Who are the big real estate moguls in? I don't know who the big Jewish real estate moguls are, but that's going to be Zegelbaum in a couple of years. But Dovi, can you blame us? Can you blame us for the crush? I mean, he's hanging out with Mordechai Shapiro. He's hanging out with. He's alleged. He's hanging out with Mordechai Shapiro. Very casually drops it on me. He says, "You know who the?" He shows me a picture. He says, "You know who this is?" I said, "Yeah, I think I know who Mordechai Shapiro is."
I didn't assume you'd know who it is.
Because